Welcome, Black. Welcome, welcome back. Welcome, welcome, Black. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks now, and I can't get the words back or black. I mean, we are black, but we're back too. Black and we're back. We're black, and we are back with another episode of Elevator Dialogue here on the Unkle Junior Network. With that being said, man, it's been 2 weeks since we had a show. I was not here last week. I was at the Dave Chappelle concert. Man, that joke was funny. But other than that, man, how you guys been? And what did y'all do last Wednesday when you guys were off?
Last Wednesday, I just I regrouped. I was chilling, man. Like October itself was pretty cool. I went to Greece earlier this month, so we're earlier in October, so it was cool being off.
Flex.
Hey, look, you came in with the Dave Chappelle stuff, what you was doing, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm just here to talk about what I did.
Touche.
Mm-hmm.
I studied.
Study.
I studied.
Study for the board.
Something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. But yeah, I studied.
Antoine, what you do?
I had an art show last week. No, I had an art show for the week, that whole week in Vegas. I went to Vegas. Yeah, that's why I was jetting out. That's why I worked out. I timed it around what you were saying. So it worked out perfect.
Yeah,
I got to talk to Vic after, but anyway.
How was Vegas? Did whatever happened in Vegas stay in Vegas?
Nah, my wife ain't up there. Let's just say that.
So you didn't go out. You didn't go out there and look for anybody. You didn't go.
No, I just was there for business. My little art show. You guys can check it out on AV Gallery if you're interested. AV Gallery. Yeah, AV Gallery.
Can you post a link?
I'm gonna post a link. Yeah,
post a link in the private chat, and then
okay.
Post it in the and then I'll post it in the YouTube description. Where people can go back and look at it.
Nobody looking at my stuff, just you guys.
Okay, well, we'll leave it for us. Whatever you say, Antoine, you the man. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We're back. We got myself, the Unkle Junior, the consistency coach. We also have Victor Viziant, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Accountable Masculinity. He's a 2-time best-selling author. There will be another book coming out one day. Stand by. Wait for it. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have across the table with Christopher McClellan, the angry guy that is still learning. And last but not least, the other artist with the smiley face and slick back hair, Mr. Antoine, the other artist, Christopher.
Here we go.
Man, so this topic, man, stop watching the news. It's a whole bunch of different things, a whole bunch of different ways we can spin this conversation. I don't necessarily mean literally stop watching the news. I think what I mean more so is about what you watch and what you give your time to when it comes to information on the TV or your phone, and also how it can affect you and affect your decision making. It can affect the friends you make. Heck, there's all kinds of different things out there on the internet and on the phone and stuff like that, and on the news. And I think some of it is good and some of it is bad. But let's get into it, man. With that being said, what do you guys? What is the current state of news consumption? Actually, hold on. I don't know if I want to start with that one. Let's start with this one. How do you define the concept of news versus reality?
Let's see. So I'll say one can go off their own reality. I always like the news is the news, and I think with today's news, you have to go do your own research, homework about it. You can't take it just for face value. I mean, I'm not talking about the obvious cases like criminals and murderers and all that stuff. I'm talking about if you're talking politics news, just to hear it off your favorite station that you like to watch, whether it's Fox, CNN, whatever. I think you need to do your own research to see. And then base it on yourself. What do you see, and then come to your own conclusion. I don't think you should take it face value at all.
Are you a Fox News guy?
No, I'm. You know what? I used to say I wasn't, and I used to say I was a CNN, and I used to say I was an MSNBC and all that. Now I listen to all three because you can listen to CNN and see how Fox contradicts it, and then you can listen to Fox and see how CNN twists it. So I like to hear both versions and then come up with my own conclusion. So I'll say I'm what is that, a conservative? Would that be a conservative? Yeah. But that's what I do, though. That's exactly what I do. So I don't say I'm either. Yeah, I know I'm an independent voter. I know that much. Yeah, that's how I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really watch the news unless it has something to do with money. I'm more in the financial sector. Like I don't really watch like Antoine was saying, like I don't really watch MSNBC, CNN, Fox News because they all got their own narrative and they all try to find ways to spin stuff. And to keep it real, man, there's rarely any good news. Like it's always something bad. And I don't need that kind of negativity. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm more focused on what's going on with the money.
Okay, so let's go there then. Let's look at the money. I said, well, let's stay right there then. Let's look at the money side of it and the reality of it. I don't know how many times I get hit up on Facebook about somebody DMing me about wanting to make some money, about to make $2,000 or invest in this, right? You see a lot of people on the social media, on the news, on YouTube, on all of these platforms, with a lot of these get rich quick schemes. People trying to tell people how to invest, and all these different things like that. Whether or not they have the proof or whatever to back it up, it's a lot of people out there that are not necessarily scamming people. And I think that's the reality of it too. So I think we can still stay here and talk about the money piece of it, and the reality of it too, whether the reality of it is factual or not, because we're going to talk about that stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's like I try to stay away from like mainstream media outlets, period. Because like I said, man, they all have their own agenda and they all have their own kind of way of spinning things so that way it fits their narrative. But like Antoine said, man, even with the financial news that I watch, I still do other research. Like I still go to other places and other outlets to see if the information matches up, or I do like a cumulative of what I find and then formulate what I need to do or what I see happening in the future. You understand what I'm saying? I don't just stick to like one thing, one mindset, one outlet. I've always been like that.
I treat the news like the first internet search on Google. Like if you're looking up for something, you're trying to look up something, and like you type in, I don't know, like you're looking for a specific type of pet, right? You type that in your search window, and then you got a bunch of options to choose from. All of them, are talking about the same thing, but the bias isn't known just yet. So I start there, and then I go check what the same news outlet is publishing on social media too. You know what I'm saying? Because social media is like it's a click funnel of information. Now, what I do with the information is on me. You know what I'm saying? And relative to what I understand in the world. So I treat the news and reality kind of like going from like the news by itself is a gun, and then the reality of it is what you do with the gun. So information is a weapon, and you can swim in the information and drown in the specifics. So you got to pick, what you understand about media, and kind of like stay in bounds. That's kind of what I do. I don't go, having an opinion on I don't know, rocket stuff when I'm not, in that that space of influence. Because too many times you see people that are unqualified over speaking, over talking about things they have no knowledge of, and then you end up, with people working out of spaces. And how many times have we seen where there are certain political influences that I remember? What's his name? Vince McMahon, the guy that runs the WWE. He's part of, how they showcase politics. They get strategies from him. So if you're watching the entertainment bleed over into, like the media, you look at it a little bit differently. You take it into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Like even when you remember the song Jadakiss had called "Why," he said, "Why they let the Terminator win the election?" You know what I'm saying? That's letting you know. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have no other options. How did we get here? So you got to just be careful how it's consumed. No different than how you would treat a gun if it was, loaded or not. Because if you communicate something that you can't take back, it's no different than pulling the trigger on a weapon and trying to make the bullet get back in the weapon. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing for me.
Yeah. I'm looking at like this concept. There's a bunch of different news outlets and news platforms out there, and not everything on there. I mean, what we see on there is reality, or for some people, it may not be reality. It may be what certain people choose to believe, or what certain people choose to focus on. And that brings me to my next question. All right, so what is the current state of news consumption, and how has it evolved in the digital age? So what I was going to continue with is I think that the way news is being consumed now is more of a funnel, and people are seeing a lot more of what they want to see. If you start talking about algorithms, different things like that, I think on one hand it's a good thing, because if I like looking at cute puppies all day long, and if I just start liking and spend a lot of time on cute puppies, I'm gonna see a whole bunch of cute puppies, right? The other side of that is if I see a video about X, Y, and Z or whatever, and I keep seeing these videos and now I'm seeing more of these things that's causing me to think in a certain type of way. So I think that's where we are right now with the current state of news consumption, is that people are being fed what they want to see on a continuous basis, and it's creating, almost like a bubble where you're living in like a little bubble. But you're missing out on a lot of other things outside of that bubble, or outside of what you're being fed on a regular basis.
I think news consumption has increased dramatically with the inception of social media and the smartphone. Like when you put those things together, like the news uses social media.
Yeah.
Think about that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the news before was a standalone, you had to wait till 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock to get in front of the TV to find out what happened in the last, since the last time that the news was on TV. Right?
Yeah.
But like now, something happened.
Everything was already old. By the time you saw it, it already happened.
Overcome by events. It was super old by the time that you got it. So,
Yeah.
like with the speed in which information comes, people have different conversations based on the accessibility of the information. You can't run away from it now. Like you have to make right now, like Chris said, it's so much news in so many words that he don't even look at the news unless it's about a specific thing that he needs information on. Because you got different tools out there. You got a lot of freelance journalism, and some people that are spot on. Like nobody would. I remember multiple times where people was trying to discredit TMZ, but every time you turn around, TMZ is right. They're there first and early. However they get the information is how they get the information. But generally speaking, when TMZ reporting something, it's probably right. You know what I'm saying? And if they made a mistake, they built enough, clientele and good association where they can, if they got to make a retraction, like people say, all right, you know what I'm saying? You right 90-some% of the time. We'll take And that's the other thing. A lot of these major media outlets don't have the same decency as the smaller, ways where people feel trusted to get information out. So, and then on when you take that into consideration, how you deconflict and, what's the current state of news consumption and how is it evolved in the digital age, the news started using social media.
Yep. And you have people on the YouTube making their own news, grabbing what they hear from CNN and NBC and all of them, and then they're putting their own take on it, their own spin on it, and saying it back to you again. So everywhere you go, you're gonna have all this news, and you know what? It kind of drags you down. If you listen to news while you do your important business, you're gonna feel depressed by the end of it, and you're gonna snap at somebody. I find it just gets into your mind if you listen too much to that crap. That's what I think.
See, that's why I look at a specific thing. And like Unc said, the more you look at that specific thing, the more the algorithm feeds you that specific thing. So if it's not about how money is moving throughout the world, like when I watch financial news, I look at global economies. I don't just look at like what's happening in the United States. I look at what's happening in the United States, and then I see how it's going to affect other countries, because the United States is such a big middleman, for lack of a better term. You understand what I'm saying? So I only watch what feeds me what I need to be fed to move forward. I don't really get into all of that other nonsense, because like Antoine said, man, watching too much of that, watching too much bad news will depress you.
Yeah. And there's enough depression. You don't need more, man. Jeez, if your day's not going right.
Boom, you guys.
Garfield, you look very dapper, by the way.
Well, thank you, man. I wore it just for you, Antoine.
Yeah, you clean up well, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's
I wore a suit to work today, so I didn't feel like changing.
Oh, nice. You wear a suit every day?
Tomorrow, I was like, you know what? I said, I think I'm gonna wear the suit tonight on the show. She was like, do it, babe. So I did it. She gave me the 2 thumbs up too. Man, but you guys are the perfect segue right into this next question, man. It's spot on tonight. That's crazy. What are the potential consequences of excessive news consumption on one's mental health and daily life?
Overrunning the capital.
I
mean,
that is so true, man. I like that one. That was funny.
January 6th, 2000, what was it, 21? That whole group of people was organized over social media, and based on the news that they were consuming, information that they were sharing, adding a lot of negative momentum to, a set of fear-based mindset. So when you consume a lot of doom and gloom, it can put you in the house. It can sit you down. You know what I'm saying? It'll make you scared to go get something to eat.
Yeah, it'll make you not want to do nothing and go anywhere.
And here's the irony in what I'm saying. Like during the height of political conflict surrounding Iraq, one of the main things that they were talking about is not letting terrorists make us fearful of living out our everyday lives. You know what I'm saying? Fear mongering, pretty much. And what's happened is that the fear of terrorists is really the fear that's around the information that the news puts out, because everybody doesn't process the same way. Everybody doesn't think critically. Everybody doesn't comprehend, and not everybody knows how to apply what they understand. They think a lot of people will take a piece of, take the soundbite and then they create something completely different out of it.
That's it. That's it.
So that context matters, and a lot of people that don't know how to think critically, if you give them something visual with a nice little juicy soundbite, they don't have a problem being first, loud, and being wrong. Those are the dangerous people. I believe like the pandemic was one thing, but I believe we're in the middle of an infodemic, and we've been in the middle of one where we do not process the right information. We don't know how to process and apply the information that we're seeing. You know what I'm saying? We can take one piece and we make a whole host of bad decisions off misinformation. So I think the infodemic is what the pandemic left behind. It's the residue from it, you know, because nobody knows who to trust. The veracity of the media has been on trial since, you know what I'm saying, the elections where Clinton and Trump were competing for each other. You know, Russia manipulated the elections. And all of these different things have challenged the integrity of what we pay attention to. And then when you sprinkle in some dummies, you don't know where it's going.
So I remember I deployed to Iraq twice, right? And you get mortared on a consistent basis, where at least you did back then, right? So it was, after a while, you kind of become numb to it, or some people do. Because for me, I think it was harder to think about, what if I die today? What if I die today? What if one hit us? Versus, I don't have time for that. I got to go out there. I got a job to do. And I need to make sure that I know what to do in case something happens. You know what I mean? Plan for what ifs. And when something happens, like, when it's my time, it's my time. Right? So that helped me mentally. They helped my mental health while I was deployed, because I wasn't, every time we heard a boom or every time we heard the whistle, I wasn't like what they call, my butthole didn't get tight. You know what I mean? I wasn't all nervous and jittery all the time. Right? So now transfer to the future now. I have spent times where weeks have went by and I haven't seen, or months went by before, where I haven't watched no news. I didn't know what was going on in the world, what was going on in my city. I didn't know what was going on. People come up to me and talking about this, this, and this. I'm like, man, ma'am, sir, brother, I don't have no idea what you talk about. You know what I mean? They worried about this or this. Hey man, you hear about this? You know, something happened at the whatever. And I'm just like, nope, I ain't know nothing about it. And you talking about some mental health for me, because I had learned how to be at peace a long time ago. You know what I mean? So it's like when I turn off the news, it's like there's nothing there. It's like there's like peace. There's like, so when it comes to like, because like we said, for some people, the news can be triggering. It can cause you to be depressed. You'd be like, darn, is anything right in the world? Every time we cut on the TV, something bad is happening. Like, who wants to hear that every day? You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to move forward in your life. Everybody can't just not hear bad news all the time and be okay with it. Me, I look at TV as entertainment and people trying to make money. That is it. Whether it's the Today Show, whether it's a football game, whether it's a game show or whatever like this, I look at TV as something to entertain. So when I look at the news, I'm looking at it from an entertainment perspective. So right there, that is why, like for me, my mental health and all of that stuff, I am totally cool with watching any and everything on TV, because I am objective and open-minded and understand that whatever they say over here, someone else on this station going to have a totally different opinion, and both of them may be right and both of them may be wrong, but they're their opinion. And like y'all said, that is their narrative that they're trying to push for clicks, likes, views, whatever it is that you want to call it. So, but I totally understand the consequences, like Vic said. Like, man, people start deleting people. They do all kind of crazy stuff because they've been fed something in the news, some excessive extremist point of view that they buy into, and that's all, and that becomes their entire world. And like you said, they want to do stuff like January 6th, or shoot up schools, or not even, even freaking don't want to get a job. I mean, we can keep it basic. People watch so much news and TV that they don't want to leave the house and work nowhere because they fear their life, that every time they leave the house, something is going to happen. So everybody want to work from home right now, or whatever. It's okay if that's what you want to do. I'm off my rant.
You silly. I stopped watching the news when every other day there was a mass shooting. It seemed like every time I turned on the news, some big place was getting lit up. And I'm like, okay, this can't be all that's happening in the world right now. Even though that's important to know, like it just seemed like every other day some place was getting lit up by some person, and then there would be narrative spun about that. And I'm like, all right, if I keep watching this and I keep looking at this, I'm going to be afraid to go outside, or I'm going to be afraid to go to work, because I'm going to be thinking in the back of my head that somebody is going to walk into this facility fed up with their job and just start lighting the place up. You understand what I'm saying? So to your point, you're right. People will start being afraid to leave because they're afraid of something bad happening, because they're always seeing bad things happening. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, and I take that back. I watch sports news too, especially the NBA. I watch that. Like, I knew about the Dame Lillard trade, and I knew about the James Harden trade. I'm watching the NBA, and I'm watching analysts talk about that. That's the type of news that I watch, because, like you said, it's entertaining. Plus, it's something that I'm interested in. Like, I like sports, especially basketball. But as far as
And
like
did you watch about Dwight Howard?
that part of it, see, that's another thing, man. That's another thing. I don't think I could care any less right now than I did when I first heard about what Dwight Howard is doing. Like, I just don't care. Like, if that man is what that man doing affecting my pockets right now? Is me having an opinion about him being quote unquote DL allegedly going to affect me making money? Who cares?
Oh,
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
see, this is
Dwight
the
Howard
excessive news. This is the excessive news consumption piece. How many times have you turned on the news in the last week and seen a video on it?
Oh my God.
All that's why I say it's just information.
And I ask you
have
what
to
you talked
pick-
about when it comes to the basketball thing. I don't know what you guys talk about.
Dwight Howard allegedly got caught with a dude. And
Isn't Dwight Howard's son the one that's a transvestite or whatever? He's training.
Now you talking about Magic Johnson. Dwight Howard was a guy.
He's married to that girl, that actress.
He's talking about D Wade.
Oh, D Wade. Either way, yeah. But like I said, man, news like that, I don't care. Let me listen to D Wade on TNT after a basketball game analyze the game. I don't care about what that man is doing in his personal life. I just don't care.
Can you just tell me what Dwight Howard? What happened?
Dwight Howard allegedly got caught with transgender, and they're making a big deal out of it. But I'm like, he's
in a sexually undisciplined situation?
to sum it up, but I'm like, who cares? Like, is he going to fly from Taiwan to the United States and join an NBA team and make them good? If not, don't talk to me about it, because I don't care. Let that man live his life.
He didn't beat him up or anything, did he?
But allegedly he had something going on and he's been denied it. And allegedly, the guy that he was with, I'm sorry, I don't want to misgender nobody and get you taken down, but the person that he was with, it came out with a video on it, and now everybody is talking about it. But I'm like, who cares? Like, they don't even do segments on it on the sports stations that, you know what I'm saying, that actually cover sports. They don't even do segments about that. They don't care. They're like,
I'm just trying to figure out why is that news. I'm just trying to figure out why is that, like, what did he use? That's all I want to know.
Because it's Dwight Howard. That's
basketball player.
Yeah, that's it.
He's not the one married to the actress. Then I'm getting them confused, right?
Dwayne Wade is the one married to Gabrielle Union, the actress. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, and he has the son that's transgender. But again, who cares? Let me listen to this man talk sports, because when I hear him talk, he knows what he's talking about. But I don't care about what's going on in his house. What's happening in his house is not going to feed me. You understand what
And
I'm
this
saying?
is where, where it talks about the potential consequences of excessive news consumption, right? Because there are people down there just constantly just eating this up and talking about this, and it's totally consumed by this, by these talking points, or it could be not just this, but anything. And then people's mental health is jacked up. You know what I mean, nowadays, because they're like I said, they're in a tunnel, or they're in a bubble about something that can be very detrimental to their overall well-being. You know what I mean? Like, I see some videos of my stuff that come up all the time, and I'm just like, that's weird. Why did this pop up? Then I keep going, and then I was like, you know what I mean? So it's just like I couldn't imagine like looking at some of this content all the time. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I'll play with the algorithm. I will just click on a couple of things and stay on it for a while just to kind of see how it does. And then, I go back and then I'll kind of change it in a little bit later and stuff like this. And it's funny. It takes like literally, man, it takes less than like a day. I can notice the difference within a day, like of the content that I'm seeing. And the easiest one I think to kind of manipulate is TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be on there and I'll be boom, 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 boom. And then the next day I'll be on something totally different. And then I'll be seeing all of this new stuff, the new content. At least in my opinion, that's been the easiest.
I
But
don't even
see,
look at
that's
that
also
stuff.
why I do that's why I do 6 months of hell, and I get off of social media and actually deal in reality. You understand what I'm saying? So to go back
Yeah.
to your first question about news versus reality, I get off of all of that because social media is so consuming and there's so much stuff being pumped out. And if you click on one thing, like you said, within 24 hours, your whole algorithm change.
Yeah.
So I just get off of it and actually look at life outside for what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
But I look at
Vic
it
brought
as
up,
for entertainment only.
yeah.
So when I'm on TikTok, I'm in there to be entertained. You know what I mean? I'm not in there. I mean, I listen to some serious content sometimes, but when I'm on social media, for the most part, like, I look at it as entertainment or as some sort of business purpose there. You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff I do on Facebook is geared towards the network or some sort of business venture or something like that. But, I get on TikTok from time to time, and then my wife send me TikToks. I send her TikToks, and then once or twice a month, sometimes not even that, we'll get through and we'll just look at all the TikToks. It might be 40, 50 TikToks, and we just scroll through all of them. And that'll get my TikTok fix, and then you know what I mean, and I'm done. So I don't consume a bunch of like entertainment social media, but there are times that I just want to be entertained, and sometimes I want to go on there for business. But I think it comes down to a balance, and I'm not excessive with anything when it comes to the content that I'm looking at.
But I don't even look at that stuff like what's his name, Stephen A. Smith. I mean, it's great to listen to him. All that sports stuff when they talk, it's like they're having it's one big fun, like
It's a debate show.
Yeah, and
Right.
they have
People always debate sports.
that boy bad, and I
that's
just
why I watch it.
look at it as
All we
news.
gotta do is start talking about basketball right now or football, and everybody gonna have an opinion.
When I talk
Talk
news,
about
I'm talking
Alabama
about
football.
Be
I mean,
careful.
when I talk, news, I'm talking
There
about
you go.
politics
There you
stuff.
go.
Be
But see,
careful.
and like you said, even with that, even with people talking sports, you still got your own opinion, but it's about entertainment. You understand what I'm saying? And it's fun.
Entertainment.
It's fun.
Those guys are
I'm
fun
not
to watch.
going there to get
The
games.
herd, the herd.
The herd.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Colin is silly. Colin is
It's
silly on
fun.
the herd. He is silly.
I don't call that news though. To me, news is like politics. That's to me is news. That stuff is just like information and
Yeah, that's
entertainment.
entertainment. But I mean, you got the sports news stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but see, like, but in a sense, it is kind of news if you're into sports. Like,
yeah.
I guess.
so
You
so
get the
it's
newspaper, they got the sports section.
right.
Just a
You
section.
understand?
It's a genre
Even
of the news.
newspapers have
Yeah,
sports.
news has just different flavors, man. It's like
Genre of the news.
yeah, like on top of that, these same personalities that we see that work at these networks, a lot of them have their own private platforms. So, like you're gonna trust that they're saying something different. That conversation is gonna be different on somebody else's platform. You know what I'm saying? Versus their own, and that tells you about the integrity of it. They have all of the sources they need to discuss what they discuss, and if they can stand on it, you know what I'm saying, that's even better. But there are people that just say anything that have nothing to stand on. They really do it for the image and not for the integrity. So that's why I made a comment earlier. I said individuals with a consumer mindset consume news differently than people with a solutions-based mindset. The people that like solving problems, they consume news that applies to what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? What they prioritize. People that just a consumer mindset, all the news is important to them. Everything's on fire. Everything's priority. The people that are very easily influenced by fear mongering, that's a consumer mindset. So you have to be careful because the algorithm conversation that Uncle was talking about, that's how you create echo chambers. So now think about that example you gave us about how you tweak your algorithm, right? Now you take some unstable person that knows the same information that you know about how to twist his algorithm or her algorithm, and they can get all types of information, you know, or visuals and optics of things that interest them. So think about the people that have a destructive mindset that are looking to be motivated by, you know, said information. Everybody has a confirmation bias, and this is why I say misinformation causes conflicts around the world. See, we might see something and see it as a prank in the Western world, but in another country where all of their information comes from, you know, like social media might be the greatest tool to bring information to places that didn't have, you know what I'm saying, media. Because there's some places out in the world that are state-ran media, meaning that your country has to approve of what's on the air. You know what I'm saying? And it has to fall within certain cultural guidelines. Well, social media is a split between that, because you don't have to, the government can't regulate every single thing, you know. And when you get into that mix, that's when you start getting misinformation and people hurting each other, or, you know, misinformation is the first weapon in, you know what I'm saying, in causing conflict.
But see, and to go back, because like you said, misinformation does cause conflict, but information period affects everything. Like when we were talking sports earlier, like the James Harden trade and the Dame Lillard trade affects Vegas, because Vegas puts odds on teams to see who's going to do what or who's favorable to do what, so that way bookies and everybody else bet on things. So it's all interconnected and it's all intertwined.
It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a big ecosystem. So that's the good thing about news, because certain news, depending on what you watch, can affect and give you a different mindset on how to move. Like at the beginning of the season, everybody had Golden State to win the championship, but now that Dame is in Milwaukee and Drew is in Boston, they're saying that Milwaukee and Boston are the team to beat, and then it's the Warriors, and then it's the Nuggets. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it's all connected.
Yep,
it's all connected, and all, and everything that moves affects something else that moves with that movement.
Things of value. Yeah, things of value make the news. Things that are not of value, you know what I'm saying, don't get any attention. So
things that are valuable to the news.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like however they see the value, they get to determine what's valuable to that audience and how they can spend it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So they get to pick, you know what I'm saying, how moral they want to be about delivering, you know what I'm saying, information. And that's why I say,
look at when you watch the Chiefs game now, who do we see at the Chiefs game now?
Oh yeah, we already know Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like, how many women are watching football now because of
Taylor Swift? Right. Come on.
That guy is everywhere. That guy's on every commercial, and he's not even that great of a player. Exactly. He's not even that great of a player. But they're using him to advertise Albert.
He is that great of a player.
But he's
Uh,
dating somebody who is big in the news. So now that he's connected to that person, he's going to be seen because Taylor Swift is seen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all connected because
He's
Taylor Swift is such a
everywhere.
big entity. And what Travis Kelce, is that his name? Travis Kelce is dating her. Not to mention the fact that, and here's another part of the news. They got mad that Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift instead of dating the black woman that he was with. And they tried to spin a narrative on that. You understand?
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's all connected. It's all connected, and everybody has their own agenda.
He was
Yeah.
dating a black girl.
Travis Kelce was dating a black woman, broke up with her, started dating Taylor Swift, and now the narrative is spun that Travis Kelce dumped a good black woman, quote unquote, to date Taylor Swift, and now everybody on that side is hating because he's with Taylor Swift. Not that he found a woman that he likes, it's just that he went from a black woman to a white woman, so there's that narrative. Do you understand why I don't focus on nonsense like that?
What is what is the name? What is the name of the chick that he was dating before her? The black.
I have
chick?
no
What is her
idea.
name? Who is he
I
dating
know.
now?
Exactly.
Exactly. We know her name.
Exactly.
We don't know the other chick's name.
But do
We
we
didn't know
care?
who
really?
she was
Ain't we
until she
mad
got
at
a.
chick for upgrading? Ain't we
Yeah,
mad at
she-
dude for upgrading?
We
No,
didn't
but
know that she even existed
if he
until
wasn't
she got on
dating
the
Taylor
news talking that noise.
Yeah, but if he wasn't dating Taylor Swift, we wouldn't even be talking about him.
We
we
would
were
be
talking about him
him
long
as a
before.
football
And
player,
you-
but
you
that's
just
only
don't know
because we
football
watch
player.
sports.
You don't.
But we'll talk about him like that, like we talk about Mahone, but we won't be talking about him like we're talking about him right now.
He wouldn't be like a point of interest. He would be
Yeah.
a good football player on a good football team. But now
With a
he's a
whole
good
bunch of
football
commercials.
player on a good football team, dating the biggest icon in the world.
It's aesthetics and optics, man. Like optics get all over top of, you know what I'm saying, all types of attention. That's what it's designed to do. But like again, for every one of those stories you hear, there's like 5 or 6 stories that somebody's doing some actual good with their time that don't get any type of attention
And ain't gonna get none.
ever. Not in that space, because you gotta be able to do something that goes across you know what I'm saying, like magazine covers. You gotta be able to sell, you know what I'm saying, like fantasy in all types of ways. And somebody else, that's like somebody's dream team. Taylor Swift and you know what I'm saying, Travis Kelce or something like that. Or
You know how many chicks probably hashtag couple goals after that?
I believe they're playing fantasy. They playing a fantasy football equivalent with they playing a fantasy sports equivalent with people in, you know what I'm saying, in Hollywood, you know, and
And the sad thing is, they're not even gonna last. I don't get it. They're not even gonna, they're just an item right now. They're not gonna last.
It's a business move.
They're the hot
in their 30s.
They're
man.
the
Come
hot
on.
topic because she's a hot topic. That's all
Exactly.
it is.
It's not gonna last. I mean, you know.
Dr. Easy, echo what you said. It don't concern my wallet.
Exactly.
Thank you. I do not care. You date who you want to. As long as who you are dating does not affect the income that I have, I don't care. But see, that's one of the consequences of excessive news consumption and how it can affect somebody's mind in daily life. If you affect that, then you just start to think, like, just to take that as an example, you just start to think, oh, and this is the narrative that's being spun too. Black women aren't good enough. He had to go to a white girl. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
I don't care.
Like reaching.
How many people
and that's what it is. And Unc said this earlier. People take a snippet. I'm sorry, Vic said this earlier. People take a snippet of something and post an opinion about it, and now it's a topic. I don't care.
Heaven forbid he was black. Jeez.
But see, here we go. You guys segue right into the next question. In what way do news outlets and social media impact our perception of reality and news events?
Yeah.
Algorithms.
Yeah.
Echo chambers, algorithms, and confirmation bias. I don't even think we even need to kick that horse again. You know what I'm
But
saying?
Vic, look at this. We got 2 wars going on, and what are we focused on? Taylor Swift and
And
a
we sit here
football
talking
player.
about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, because like again, which goes back to what I said before. Individuals with a consumer mindset consume news differently than people with a solutions based mindset. You
You're right
know,
about that. I know how to
But
like
figure
see,
it out.
here's the thing though. I'm glad you brought up the wars because I'm in the financial sector. The wars affect our economy, which affects the world economy and the countries that are in war too. You understand what I'm
And
saying?
the Dow
So
is
I
down.
gotta
The Dow is
so
down.
I gotta pay attention. I have to pay attention to that because that's how the money moves. You understand what I'm saying? Like
real
if
estate and everything else and insurance, it affects all of this stuff.
it affects everything. So I
Uh,
have to pay attention to that just to see what why are we in their business in the first place? Because we got things that we need to take care of here. Two, us being in their business, how does that affect how the money moves? So that way I know which way that the market is going to go so I can make an educated decision. You understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, it's all intertwined. But to sum it up, it scares people. It scares people into thinking that one, there's not enough, two, that the world is going to end, and three, there's nothing that we can do about it.
It's
here's what
a lot of elephants in the room behind misinformation and just news outlet. Like we got way more elephants in the room than than what we're comfortable to discuss. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know how to have a discussion about it, an informed discussion that leads to a healthy understanding. We're going in trying to compete. This is why I say, man, like debates are not as effective as dialogues in most cases. It's not always applicable.
you muted, Antoine.
You got to watch the news in perspective, as do you, and what's best for you. Take it for what it is. Take it for what it's worth. If you watch the news and literally live behind what you hear, my goodness, wow, it would be a hard day to wake up every day. You know, I had a friend that's he's a Jewish guy and he's watching the war in Israel and all that. I mean, his whole day is crushed. He is crushed. I'm like, dude, let's go out. Like, no, I gotta see what's happening to my family over there. I go, you have family over there? No, but it's my. Ooh, okay, all right,
He has
sorry
to
to
know
hear.
what's going on with his people.
Like,
That's
okay.
what it is. He has to know what's going on with his people. And like I said, me being in the financial sector, I also have to know what's going on with his people because what's going on with his people is affecting the entire global market. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all intertwined, but like Vic said, you have to look at things from an objective standpoint. I
Right.
can understand why your friend would be in his feelings about what's going on over there because those are his people. Like, and they're literally fighting a war there. And to bring it back to sports, there are people, there are soccer players, basketball players, football players, baseball players that are affected by this war because that's global. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there are people from other countries
They got
playing
families in
over
these
here.
situations.
Right. There are people in other countries over here playing in these sports, but in the back of their head, they like, I'm sitting here bouncing this basketball, or I'm sitting here holding this bat trying to hit this home run. But my people in my home country are literally dying right now.
Jokic, the Klitschko's, you know what I'm saying, when they were dealing with I think it was with the Serbian conflict a few years
Yeah.
back. You know what I'm saying? Like it's some people that are actual citizens of their place and they statesmen. So like to be playing abroad or fighting, you know what I'm saying, abroad or something like that, and your home country is getting destroyed, that that's a different type of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? And that's why like the type of news that gets discussed and gets the most attention is why I call it the infodemic. You know what I'm saying? We swimming in information and drowning in the specifics. We get too invested and too consumed with trying to correct other people's decisions from our moral compass from where we sit behind keyboards, behind phones, and whatever else, you know. And you know, that's what it's for. It's just to give surface attention and stuff. Now, if you want to be invested enough, then follow the people that are associated with their publicists and see what they're trying to counter. And look at what they're saying, because these people have to be visible in order to do their jobs. So they can't expose themselves on bad information. So they're gonna always, it's always somebody doing damage control. And when you start looking at the information, what they're doing damage control on, you can kind of get an idea of, you know what I'm saying, that this person is talking about something that's pretty, you can get it, you can assess the accuracy of the information. You're never gonna know completely, you know what I'm saying, that complete absolute truth. But indicators are not absolute, but they're absolutely indicators for that reason.
One of the things that we have to look at also is the amount of time that we hear or listen to something, right? So when we look at news, there may be 40 or 50 different stories. I don't know how many in a 30-minute time frame, or in a 45 or an hour show, where you're only getting highlights of the big picture. So at the end of the day, they're probably posting or showing you their narrative or their spin on whatever it is that you're seeing. So if you're watching the game, they're probably in there the news. They can't show the entire football game or the entire baseball game. So they only show you the highlights. They show you when so-and-so is dunking or someone's doing their favorite move or something. So we have to also understand that our perception is only, you know, when you look at the reality of it, or you're only seeing a small picture of so many different conversations and so many different situations. You know, if you look at someone who may get shot, right? They say, oh, it's so-and-so got shot down here, blah, 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 and they're investigating and yada, yada, yada. And then 30 seconds later, they're on to, you know, LeBron James shooting a winning shot. So it's like, so now you got this little snapshot, and now you're judging, or now this your reality now, and you're like, oh man, now I can't go to this city again because every time I cut on the news, someone is being shot. I get that, but at the reality of it, most of what we're seeing is snapshots. If you look at the big picture about everything, most things, it's like it's not happening all the time. It's just that we're seeing it all the time because we're focused on the news. Like I look at people who you say, oh well, you know, people are always getting robbed over here. I don't personally know anybody who has ever been robbed, and I'm 47 years old. Maybe they have, and they've never told me. But so, like, I'm not that uncomfortable going certain places because the odds are on my side. Could I get robbed anytime I go out? Absolutely. But I can't live and move and function with the mindset of thinking that I'm going to get robbed every time I leave the house. So that's why when you look at the news and stuff, they have their own narrative, depending on what channel you watch, and they're going to spin it the way they want to spin it. And you're only going to see a small snapshot of the big picture. But you can't just focus on the little small snapshot. Got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
but you know what?
like,
You know what
I'm
it
gonna
is.
say this and then
You know
I'm
what it is. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna hop off because I gotta teach this ballroom class that I really don't want to teach. If I to the point of the impact of our perception of reality and the news events, if I were to focus on that, I would never go to Houston, I would never go to Chicago, I would never go to Philly, I would never go to Baltimore, I would never go to Miami, I would never go to the West Coast, because there's always something horrible being reported happening in those cities. However, I have people in those cities and I have been to those cities, and I know that that little snippet of what's going on deep in wherever they're recording this is not the whole. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said, man, if you really focus on that one thing, it'll terrify you. But if you look at it, like Vic always says, if you pull yourself out of it and look at it from an objective point of view, you will see that that's a small percent of a percent of a percent of what's really happening. Yes, there's a shot that it may happen, but it's not likely, especially if you move in the way that you're supposed to move and you smart about it.
Probability versus possibility.
Exactly.
Can it happen versus will it happen? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
What's imminent? You know what I'm saying? And if we pay attention to things that are imminent, we will have a better conversation about, how to perceive it versus, like hypothetically arguing about somebody else's hypothetical talking points. Pundits, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to rearrange the information to make what they're saying, fit instead of just discussing what is. And if they're not talking about solving it, then you best believe that they're gonna have whatever vitriol built into whatever the commentary is. Because that's a reasonable way to say, hey, look, what can we control and what we can't. You know what I'm saying? What we can affect and what we can't. You start having less conversations about the things you can't affect, you have a different perception of the information that you're using.
Chris, my brother, have a good night, man. You want to say anything else before you roll out real quick?
I can give it to. I can give my pack wisdom.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Let's do it.
All right. With everything that we have just discussed for this last hour, the only pack wisdom that I would have is to not be consumed by what you see on television, on social media, and on mainstream media, because everything has a narrative. Always try to pull yourself out of things and look at it from an objective point of view and see what's really happening. Because like Vic says, there's possibility and then there's probability. And a lot of the things that you see on TV, it's possible that it could happen, but it's probably not if you move in the way that you are supposed to move. Yes, there is a possibility that you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, but that's a percent of a percent of a percent of a possibility. You understand what I'm saying? So just be objective. Don't believe everything that you see and try not to be a robot and formulate your own objective opinion about things and move the way that you are supposed to move. That's my pack wisdom. Y'all be good. Enjoy the show.
Have a good one, man. And then there were three.
That's how we started. That's how we started.
Yeah, and they're all by yourself, Antoine. You okay? Well, I need to put you up here so you won't be lonely.
I like to have a little neighbor. Vic can come on the bottom.
I need to move you up there so you be okay. I don't want you to.
I like it
okay?
like that. I feel like I'm part of the team. Oh, you see that? Nah, that's cool.
Oh, say that. There you go. I got
I
you,
Antoine. I was enjoying that company.
I want to make sure you're happy.
You know what? I appreciate that. You should wear a suit more often. You're nicer.
The suit made me act nice. Is that what you're saying?
Hey, look, just move me to the bottom so y'all can, you know what I'm saying? y'all can get up here and cuddle. You already looking to the same side where he at anyway. So you know what I'm saying? I don't mind going.
Oh, man.
You know what I want to say about the news for people today, though? The young guys coming up. You can't let it guide your life. You can't let it rule you, and you can't let it over. I know people say they have people in Israel and all that other places, but you can't let that stop you from enjoying yourself and where you're at. Because life's going to throw you curves like this all the time, and you can't get it. You can't get enveloped into other people, other countries' business, what's happening. You can be empathetic about it and do your part if you can, but you can't, my God, you can't change the way you operate because there's nothing you can do. Either way, it's you can't make bad news sound pretty. It's still bad news.
I think that is one mindset, and I think that that's one approach. For some people, I would say that
from going to work.
I would say that not everybody's there yet. Good, bad, or indifferent. And other people have their opinions and they have their reasons that we may not even understand. So I'm always open to understanding or knowing that I may not understand why someone feels a certain way because I can't see it from their point of view. Just like people look at me and like, why you get frustrated about this? It's because I see it a certain way. I don't know. But that's just me, and I'm not here to change your mind. But
Yeah.
we have our next question.
Yeah.
Here we go. So let's explore the role, I know Vic gonna like this one, of media literacy and critical thinking and determining if something is fact or that's supposed to be or. Let me change that because I don't want to mess up. Fact or. Antoine didn't get on early enough to make sure that my words were spelled right.
Oh man, like you just gonna slide, make him responsible for that, huh?
Yeah, right?
Look,
Get
no
blamed for everything.
accountability.
None, no
No
code.
accountability.
I get blamed for everything over there.
So
I got
That was just a
that's
late-
what I spoke
just
on.
a late
That
shot.
That
It was a
question is
late
what
shot. Huh?
that question is what I spoke on, you know. That's why I said you got whatever I listen to, whether it be news on social media, even if I go to the movies, I always go back home and find out what really, if it's based on a true story or inspired by. I always go and look for the facts on my own and see what the consensus are, what people are saying as a collective, and then make my own
Okay.
judgment.
I got a question.
Okay.
How do you know? How do you? Who determines, or how do you know if you have media literacy? Right? We can look at someone who has financial literacy. Right? You can probably determine a little bit by the size of their wallet and
Right.
maybe how they move. Not all the time. Sometimes people be just false and they really ain't got it. But if someone really knows financial literacy, even if you don't know what financial literacy is, you can kind of see that this person is probably good with their money. But how do you determine if someone has media literacy?
Well, you know what I usually do? Like, I have a mentor that's into that sort of politics stuff. So I usually, like, I have people in my life that I could bounce things off of, right? So I'll say, hey, I heard such and such and all this with the market. Is that true? Like, what's your take on it? You read up more on this information than me. What do you think? And I get that feedback. Like I don't struggle to try to find out. Like, I don't struggle to try to find out if it's right or wrong. I just go to the sources that I know actually are into it, or I'll find a source that's really reliable. Like that guy, the money market guy. He's with I think the bull or whatever he does. And I'll say, hey, and I'll ask the guy that's into that stock stuff, hey, does this guy really know what he's talking about? Because his show is really good. And he'd be like, yeah, he's pretty much. He's on. I mean, it's entertainment, but so that's what I think people should do. I think you need to do your own thing. Like Vic said, social media has it. There's so many news channels that have it. The echo chain. I mean, there's so much.
But when people fact check stuff, are they fact checking all places? Like, if you're a Fox News person or whatever, then are you really going to go to the other side and start fact checking something, or are you just going to fact check it with your own people who already align with you?
I would fact check it with. I would want to listen to what the counter is saying, and then I'll do my research and see what the overall consensus is about the subject. That's what I would do. Like, I really want to know what's the war on Israel about, and like everybody has their view on it and who's right and who's wrong and Hamas and all this and that. I'm like, ooh, that's like overwhelming for me, right? And so I'll find out somebody that's into it and go, listen, what is it about? Tell me in a nutshell, and then they'll tell me.
So, explore the role of media literacy and critical thinking, and determining if something is fact or fiction. I say media literacy can be assessed by the individual's situation awareness on current events, and how well they can explain what they know, and also leave room to have their opinions changed with new information. If you can't have your opinion changed with new information, that's gonna impact your media literacy. Like, I think a casual conversation is the only way you can see it. You can't wear your media literacy. You can to a degree, but that just be an indicator. But like actually determining that would have to come from what interests that individual. So if you're trying to target people, to market to them, you got to know what they enjoy, right? So,
Yeah.
and what is that individual's personal interest? Do they have their own personal bias that they're heavily invested in? If they got their money tied into what they're paying attention to, they're gonna have a different opinion.
Mm.
I look at, man, just looking at media literacy and critical thinking. A lot of times people look at the news, but sometimes they look at it just literally like it is what it is. But like for me, I look at it as entertainment, and I look at how can I benefit, or for what is more, for lack of a better term, for what?
How do I benefit from the information?
Yes, how I benefit from the information. How is it impactful, or how does it affect my life?
Is it
I don't
useful?
watch something. If it don't really affect my life, then I'm just kind of listening. It's more of an
Right?
entertainment.
Yeah.
If it's like, but if I'm watching the news and they're like, "Hey, Interstate 95 is closed, and that's the way that I gotta go to work," I want that information. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the critical thinking part, it's like now that information that I'm getting from the media is beneficial because now I can use it. I use the weather to determine whether or not I need to take an umbrella or wear a coat. You know what I mean? So not
Exactly.
only thinking, but using, I use it for purposes like that.
So
You know what I
like
mean?
just like you just said, to watch the weather at a minimum, right?
Yeah.
Like media literacy can be assessed by the individual situation awareness on current events. If you don't bring a jacket and you knew it was snowing and you live everywhere else where everybody else snowing and you came outside thinking it was going to be one temperature and you hadn't been paying attention to the news in the last however long, you're going to miss some information and look, like your situation awareness isn't up to par.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like think about living in a place where hurricanes hit all the time and you the only one that didn't know a hurricane was coming.
You'd be in a bad way.
Yeah, so media literacy can be assessed by an individual situation awareness. You don't have to be. It's not about being absolutely right or knowing the same information. It's about looking for changes. It's about trying to forecast your personal safety.
Okay, well here we go. I'm gonna throw it out there, Antoine, just for you. And Vic. UFOs. All right. So you look at media literacy, critical thinking. You can be open-minded or closed-minded about the content or about the subject of UFOs. But we do use media, and most people have their opinion on whether or not UFOs are fact or fiction based off of the media and based off of information that they received in their entire life. So when it comes to the critical thinking piece, how do you determine if UFOs are fact or fiction? You know what I mean?
I got this one.
We're all determining whether or not UFOs are fact or fiction. Everybody, all three of us up here, based off of what we see and what we hear, social media and or TV, our entire lives.
Okay. Probability versus possibility. Is it possible they exist? Yes. Is it probable they exist? Yes. Because there's been less to dispel if they exist or not. It's like you've been using think about football, right? When I hate using football references, you know what I'm saying, to explain, but here's an example. How many times has the chains have to be brought out because the spot is off, or they got to verify the spot? And could that person have gotten the first down without the chains? Absolutely. Do we want to bring the chains out to make sure? Absolutely. Could it still be a bad spot? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, absolutely. Can all of these things exist at the same time? Absolutely. Because we've all seen them, Now, none of us have ever seen a UFO. Wait. Hold on. Let me finish. None of us can say that we actually touched a UFO, saw it, interacted with it, or anything like that. We didn't go to the airport and just walk past, what I'm saying, Marvin the Martian landing somewhere. However, there's been enough documentation of certain incidents where if there's smoke, there's fire. So if we can accept that as a popular, quick assessment to not rule out anything and keep an open mind, then I'm cool with that, because you look dumb trying to, refute it. We're starting to see Man, look, that's stuff that used to be on like the National Enquirer and the Sun magazine that's starting to, you know what I'm saying, go from tabloids to reality, you know? So it's going to look interesting because there are things that used to be considered conspiracy that are now just kind of like, all right, man, that's kind of out in the open right there. You know what I'm saying? How does it fit in the larger picture of things? I just think it's a lot of stuff that we can't explain, and it's kind of arrogant to think that we have all of the information.
Exactly. I agree with Vic 100%. It's like I'm very passionate about UFOs. And Bigfoot. I don't care what anybody says. I'm passionate about Bigfoot too. Yeah, I know your head go down.
Oh,
That's
hold
not
on.
that.
So do you stand on the side that there are UFOs and that there are Bigfoot?
100%. So I went to this, the whole Roswell, New Mexico crash. That was the whole thing back then. And I went to this right here in LA. The guy that was actually in Roswell, he's old now, but at the time had this whole little speech about it. And it was really insightful. And he left off by saying, do you think a whole town or a whole town would lie? And I was like, wow, mesmerized by that. He goes, no. And do you think the actual sergeant that found the material on his deathbed would lie? No. And then, you hear about the Patterson film with Bigfoot. I'm just switching it up, but let's say Bigfoot. And he told his story, and everybody within that town verified what he was saying. So it's very interesting that I believe the news can also sometimes make you not want to believe in something. They may put it out there to manipulate you, to not make you want to believe that something else exists. Because we'd be foolish to think we're the entire only civilization in the entire galaxy, that nobody else has the technology to come here and see us and visit us, right? But then again, that would mess up the whole aspect of God and stuff like that.
Well, and here's the other part too. The reason why I just go with the probability versus possibility is because you have people that believe in Bigfoot and UFOs but can't see racism.
Right. That's true.
And we can show you patterns, you know what I'm saying? Like any individual, we can show you the architecture, the incidents that were done. The same way people can show you pictures or record incidents or interactions. And if a whole bunch of people are saying this happened, then you can't refute that either. So my point being is that if you look at it like this, if people can decide they want to be the opposite gender and dress different, and then try to tell everybody else that they're now a man or now a woman, then Bigfoot exists, then UFOs exist, then everything exists. So you seen Ghostbusters before? You remember when they shut down that containment unit? And that's what we're doing. They shut down the containment unit and let all the ghosts out. You know, so you can't take anything off the table. Now you got people that believe in apparitions. You know what I'm saying? But their interest is aimed at that. So if your interest is aimed at that, you're gonna do everything to validate your interest in that thing. You know what I'm saying? If you could prove it, then you're gonna study it and justify it. Just like people believe that the earth is flat. Some people believe that the earth is hollow. There's a bunch of different things out there that people can think very critically about and be very articulate and be very wrong. All of these things can happen at the same time. So you just have to be careful about how you apply the information that you're consuming, how you react to somebody else that doesn't agree with what you're on. Because we're all multidimensional people. You got different sides of you, and every side of you adds a dimension. Some people got more dimensions than others.
You're muted.
So here's my thing real quick about the flat earth, and I'm gonna leave it alone. This seems like they could be easily found out. Like, don't seem like it's that hard to do. And that's just me. But I seem like, so if I have this, no, I ain't gonna use that. I don't want to promote them. I don't want to promote them either. Darn it, all this stuff. So if I got this piece of this card right here, right? Eventually, if I'm on the card or the earth or round or flat, if I come up and look back, eventually I'll come up high enough to I'll be able to see what shape it is. I'll be able to see if it's flat or if it's round.
That's right.
It seems like, see what I'm saying? So it seems like it's easier to figure out. It shouldn't be a debate. So I don't understand that debate. That's just me. Maybe that's critical thinking. Maybe I'm just stupid and dumb. Who knows?
No,
Um,
no, no.
But but like I get what you're saying. Like, and that's like with the UFOs and stuff like that. Like what we think is all based off, in most cases, what we see on TV. You know, you have an experience when, you know, there have been cults of people who have, you know, drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. You know what I mean? And they were, you know, hundreds and thousands of people. So I can see how certain towns could all get behind a story. I also could see how everybody in the town could benefit from the telling of the story. And I also can see how everybody in the town could actually see something. But because they're so small and it seems so like fictional, that no one would really believe them. People want to see proof, you know? So I'm like Vic, I believe and I think all things, you know what I mean? I really ain't, well, not the Bigfoot thing. I don't get that one.
All things are true.
Yeah, I don't get the Bigfoot thing.
Yeah, like all yeah, all
I can send you a lot of literature and footage. So I mean,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like when you pay attention to something, you become the subject matter expert on it. You know what I'm saying? To people that don't pay attention to the same thing. It's just like how many times we had conversations about like real estate, short-term rental and stuff. And Garfield always says, I'm gonna come talk to Vic first, you know. So everybody is responsible for something in the wolf pack that, you know what I'm saying, the other people ain't responsible for. We can't know,
right.
all of us can't know all of the same information. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be able to exchange information. We're supposed to be
there ain't no Bigfoot.
Yeah, see, look.
Hey,
no Bigfoot.
Hey,
No
look,
Bigfoot.
and why, like, if somebody brought, like, these, you know, these weird discussions have always been brought to me in some kind of way.
Bigfoot exists.
Like,
No Bigfoot.
Everybody's brought me their opinion on this stuff, and then I just got to the point where I was like, hey man, all things are true. You believe Bigfoot out there? I don't have the information to say he don't, and I'm not about to get into no scrap with anybody about.
I'm going to fight Antoine over the Bigfoot.
No, but I remember the guy's name that came. It was Jesse Marcel, who's the Air Force pilot that found the crash. It was his son that had the talk, a town hall talk about it, and it was. I mean, his son he was the one as a little boy that played with the material that Jesse Marcel, his father, actually found and brought home, and it was so. I mean, the way he was talking was so genuine. It was like, geez, you know, it's like, and he goes, I can't explain.
Why Bigfoot hiding from us, Antoine? What are he hiding for?
I don't think. Well, obviously, I think Bigfoot is real because I refuse to believe. Just like we can't see the bottom of the ocean, we've explored every part of this earth.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like he can. That there's room for him to have the argument about anything he wants to have. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's a valid question, though, we don't know what's in the ocean completely. So if that's what he wants to, you know what I'm saying, base his objection on, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like you can't really tell somebody no, it doesn't exist anymore without being able to justify why it doesn't exist. And this is why dialogue is important.
I'm trying to have some dialogue about Bigfoot not existing.
Well, go ahead. I got it. I'll bring it to me. I got you. I'll fill you in.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Here's why. I believe that anything is possible. I want to start by saying that. But I do like arguing the fact that there is no Bigfoot because can't see him. I'm like, what are they hiding for? We don't see any poop. There are no traces of what they eat. You know what I mean? So it's just like, they say, oh, well, they live in caves. Well, then how do they see? They're nocturnal. You know what I mean? What's the real reason why, if they're bigger than us and stronger than us, why they don't exist? Now, I think that maybe at one point, maybe there was something. I'll go with that. But to say that they are now, I'm not really buying that part.
Well, doing the research, they said one of the people that have claimed that they exist and they've seen them, I guess, many times. I don't know.
I got a question when you finish your statement.
They said that they're able to blend in to the forest so well that you would think they're a tree when you're looking at them. They're that good. They're that camouflaged. They know how to move about the bushes and the trees and the moss, and they know every aspect of where they are situated. And they operate at night, so their eyesight is keen at night, like you see during the day. So they know that you can't see them as clear as you think you can, even with a flashlight, and they know how to hide. That's what the whole thing was about. Like, they know how to operate within the depths of what they do. That's all I want to say.
So I got one question that make you consider that. There's a lot of technology that can pick up heat signatures in the woods, and that between that and drones and everything else, you don't think that they can find a Bigfoot?
That's saying that exactly.
Yeah, but there's a lot of drones. I agree with that, and I've always wondered why the footage that you see from drones and phones and all that stuff is always blurry.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
People on the moon, but we can't get a clear photo.
Yeah, like, come on, look, we can track.
Look, they put people on the moon.
Hey, look, we can track sharks all over the world.
Yeah.
Think about all of the wildlife that's tagged with GPS.
Yeah.
Think about air tags. You know what I'm saying? Being on certain animals. You don't think that you can't find one Bigfoot?
I agree, guys, with you on that. But I think
Go back and reframe your argument. See, that's what I'm saying.
They have to poop somewhere.
Have you ever seen the Patterson film, like the real Patterson film? Okay, well, look at it and tell me if you think that's fake.
Everything before 1979 was fake.
It was 1967, actually.
See, that's my point.
Point proven.
Your point proven. Like, the fact that we're talking about if Bigfoot is real, you know what I'm saying?
He's real. Stop if he's real. God damn it, he's real.
What? Like, look, if he's real.
When I got these magic beans over here, I said you're real.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like I just want you to think about that. We got infrared technology on weapons that you could be purchased at a gun store, right? And people hunt in these places that Bigfoot allegedly lives in, mountain lions and everything else. They go shoot and they go shoot and hunt these animals, and nobody has bumped into them.
They got the night cameras.
They got night cameras. The technology is way different for Bigfoot to go unnoticed. Think about the fact that since we talking about information and media literacy, right? Do you realize that ISIS was using, social media?
Right.
So the information that gets shown on social media in the Western world triggers, like crazy conflict events in other parts of the world because ideologies matter a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So if we give enough attention to social media to create these interests and these travesties and these countries being overran, and we can't find a Bigfoot in our own backyard, that's kind of weird to me.
I agree with you on that, Vic. And I can't explain. I don't have an answer for that, right? I really don't. But the information that's out there outweighs what you just said.
And then here's the other thing. I'll give you the devil's advocate part.
Okay.
The same information that you use to believe in the existence of Bigfoot is the same argument that somebody can make for God.
No, absolutely. God, listen, God, you can't see faith. God is all. That's a very good valid point. Right?
And that's the thing. See, in the subjective world, we respect spirituality and principles rooted in that, and why you're supposed to respect faith. In the objective world, it's harder to prove because you have to show it to me. So that's why it's all speculation until this point. And as far as it goes, the story's not aging very well with less technology. I mean, with more technology, it's not aging well.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for some true false questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm there.
Let's do it.
I like it.
True or false?
No.
News consumption can lead to increased stress and anxiety levels.
I was right. True.
It can if you let it.
If you got a consumer mindset, your level of stress and anxiety is going to be different than that with the problems or solutions based mindset. Consume the news differently.
Yeah, I know. You know, I mean, you could look at the news and, like, Chris said before he left, like, you could be stressed out because you see a lot of bad stuff. So I can definitely see how overconsumption can definitely lead to this.
Yep.
True or false? Men and women are equally affected by the challenges of staying informed while preserving their mental well-being.
No.
No.
I don't think people are equal in the way that they think all the time.
In anything.
Because everybody's mindset don't make the same decisions on the same information.
Yep.
I've seen plenty of people look right at the information and still go do something that was opposite of what they were consuming. So, like, some people just don't care until they can apply it, until it's relative. You know what I'm saying? We can't relate to no. If you didn't grow up in a place where, like in California, right? Y'all got like wildfires. If you didn't grow up in a place that got a bunch of wildfires, you can't relate to that.
Yeah, it's true.
True or false? Media literacy plays a crucial role in distinguishing fact from fiction in today's news landscape.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
It's the definition.
It's what a lot of people go up.
Mm-hmm.
I think media literacy also encompasses, not just one opinion,
multiple sources.
Yeah, multiple sources, multiple information, different people, both sides of the coin. Because you look at, you just go with blue and red. You'll be talking about the same thing, but they have two totally different spins on it because they're going to both approach it from a different point of view. And then you go and look at a different channel and they're going to have their spin on it. Or, then you go and look in the Native American community and it may be something totally different that we may not even think about because what they may be talking about in Native American community may be more important to whatever fight that they may have going on over there.
Proximity.
And what those people there want to know and hear, so the news that they get on a reservation may be different than what I may be getting here in North Carolina. And if you even local news, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I look at local news a lot just because kind of want to know sometimes what's going on in the neighborhood, I look at that more so than like world news and stuff, just because
exactly. It's close to the home.
In the sense, this is my home. I want to know what's going on in the neighborhood,
Yep.
So where's the crime being reported at on a regular basis? Where are they saying with the housing market in my neighborhood? So what are gas prices like where I'm at? What's my weather like where I'm at? It's cool to watch the other TV shows and stuff, but
again, applying the wrong information. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if you got somebody that's too plugged in and overconsumed with information that's outside of their area, they miss everything. You miss the forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? So you can easily blow something up, blow something out of proportion, or be real dismissive of something that's very important locally just because you didn't pay attention to it. You lack objectivity if you function that way.
Yeah, that's a good one. True or false? Social media can significantly shape our perspective of reality and news events.
It already has.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
it's already doing that.
Yeah, it's already done it. You know what I'm saying? Like we always have to consider social media. I don't think people understand how powerful it is. It's because people get on social media to complain about social media.
Mm-hmm.
About
I seen a chick on social media talking about she was addicted to social media. They asked her why she can't find a man, and she was like, "I think because I'm addicted to social media."
And she was saying that to appease, but she was being completely honest.
Yeah,
that's just the facts. So, like, it's part of everything. Like, even if you don't, it's so woven into society, right? That even if you don't use social media, the people you have to engage with are shaped by social media. You go to work with people, you don't know what they consume, you know what I'm saying, information wise. If they're watching, more cat videos than dog videos.
Mm-hmm.
So their perception is getting shaped, you know what I'm saying, as they move throughout life and whoever they interact with. They're part of completely different communities than you would understand. And then the minute that you bring the topics that you like to discuss, like say, it might be a geopolitical discussion, right? And you're trying to talk to somebody who don't look at nothing but cat and dog videos, and then you get mad because they're not consuming your information. They don't care. They're not paying attention to that. You know what I'm saying? So this is about proximity and what people are entertained by, and the things that come along with who you're talking to is going to shape. If you're dealing with somebody that's got a subjective response and interest to things versus an objective response and interest to things. So that consumer mindset is like the pivot point, you know what I'm saying, of who you're talking to. If you're talking to other people that's in business that got major investments tied up in you know what I'm saying, that gets impacted by the global economy or the stock market or whatever, your concerns are completely different than the person, you know what I'm saying, who was in a car accident, you know what I'm saying, on 38th and you know what I'm saying, at whatever side street. So it impacts things different. Now, if that's somebody you knew, that news would be different. But if you don't know the local thing and you're like, I don't even go on that side of town, I don't care about it. You can pick and choose when news is important. So social media and how the information comes to you definitely shapes your perception of reality and news events. Because if you were there on the ground or you was the one that had the phone out and you saw something completely different, that's the difference in having a George Floyd situation and not.
Yeah.
Last one, folks. It is essential to fact check news articles and sources to ensure accurate information.
Yeah.
If you like making informed decisions, it is.
Yeah.
If you don't care, you don't care. Because people,
if you don't care about the subject, fine. But if you have an opinion on it and a strong opinion on it, you better check your source and have some facts to back it up. What you're saying.
And that question, right? That true false question pivots off the last question we just had. Is the accuracy of information on social media and how it pairs with, you know what I'm saying, the information coming out. There's some people that how many times you've seen somebody repost some entertainer that died like 30 years ago and they act like the entertainer just died. I'm like, yeah, y'all done killed it twice.
Yeah, twice. Hey man, we done for the night. We went a couple minutes over, but it was good, man. I enjoyed the show. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of Elevator Dialogue. See y'all then. We are out.